morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I seriously want to apologize for being late. It's not my style for people that have known me before. And also, I really want to thank the organizers of this event. Thank you so much for inviting me this morning. What a privilege that I don't want to take for granted. Now, I will be talking by the grace of God on teachers as nation builders. And I'm sure every one of us know that without our teachers, nobody will be able to do anything at all. And within this few minutes that I'll be talking about teachers as nation builders, I like us to actually think of teachers. Education has had a very, very turbulent time in Nigeria, and the whole blame has been on teachers. And apart from that, we have come from a background where it is all about blames, but nobody ever thinks about how do we come out of it. So today we'll be talking about teachers really. And you will see there that I've got, I wrote something about that I got online. A good teacher is a nation builder. And that's Ramnath Kovind, President of India. He said, a good teacher is a nation builder. And today, by the time I finish my session, you will see why I seriously agree with that statement. Now, to educate the students, you need qualified and supported teachers. And you will see that we didn't just talk about needing qualified teachers, but we need qualified teachers. We need teachers that can support our children at different levels. When I say teachers, we're not looking for teachers that are just supporting children that are gifted and talented. What about the passive learners? What about the children with needs? Because we've seen blind men. I mean, my own best lecturer when I was reading law in England was actually a blind man. But a teacher supported him so well. And that's why I've put that as to educate the students, you need qualified and supported teachers. From the EFA Global Monitoring Report, we found that 1/3, less than 75% of teachers are professionally trained. So that's an area that I really want to, I want all the wonderful people on board to take that point. We need good trainings for our teachers. If we don't train them, let's stop blaming them. And recently at the presentation of National Teachers Award in India, that was what Ramnath Kovind said also that I've discussed with you. Sorry. I'm trying to get into my next slide. Okay, so when we talk of teachers as builders, you will see that they are the sole means to save a nation and even the globe from splits of disillusionment, disintegration, dissatisfaction, and dehumanization, which drag mankind towards destruction. The teacher is actually a superior guide. When you look at all those 4 Ds, those are the kind of things that education is going through at the moment. We're very disillusioned at the moment. There's a lot of disintegration, a lot of dissatisfaction, a lot of dehumanization. And when you ask me about all this, I'm sure we know our curriculum needs a bit of tweak at the moment to suit 21st century needs. I'm sure you know that the what worked before COVID-19 obviously cannot work after COVID-19. Now, if the students are the future of the nation, if we're saying within the students, we have the governors of tomorrow, we've got the president of tomorrow, we've got all the doctors of tomorrow and everything, then the teachers are the builders of the nation. The teachers are the builders of this nation. So that's something we need to all realize. Now, role of professional teacher, when you look at it, let's look at this triangle. You will see that at the primary school level, like a house, it requires a good foundation. In the same way, primary teachers help in building a strong foundation. Now, I was quite interested in this because I realized that my background is both UK and Nigeria, really. And UK will will spend, not waste now, but will spend major part of their Sorry, can you hear me, guys? Can you all
Yes,
hear me?
we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So at the foundation level, United Kingdom will spend a lot of money for foundation teachers. They will spend a lot of money for resources at the foundation level, because when the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? Number one thing, how have we helped our teachers at the foundation level? Do we have a clear framework for ECCD or LES for schools that are using British curriculum? Nothing is clear about the LES. And 0 to 6, we're neglecting them, forgetting that that is where the foundation is being laid. We've got curriculum that is obsolete, that is actually not fit for 21st century child. And we've got that. How are we helping? Because everybody keeps on putting the blame on teachers. Have we helped them by actually contextualizing our curriculum into good scheme of work? Some schools have done that. And I must give kudos to schools that have done it. I must give kudos to states that have done that. But we've got to seriously go and think about the primary school level. How are we with the foundation? That is where we're struggling. No buildings. That is where we're struggling. Children don't have teachers. Even the teachers there are overwhelmed without resources, without textbooks. And we're saying with the nation builders, when we say they are nation builders, we need to provide them with good resources. At the higher secondary level, teachers, along with syllabus knowledge, provide valuable tips for opportunities that exist in the external environment. Now, this is another sensitive area. The two bottom level lines, they need a lot of support, a lot of technical support, a lot of technological understanding, because if it's not properly laid at that stage, then the last two will suffer. So at the college level, teachers guide them to be independent, mature, and facilitate them in shaping their career goals. At the university level, teachers provide more exposure and more knowledge. But if we don't go back to those tertiary institutions and actually make sure that our curriculum is not obsolete, what we're giving to our teachers is not obsolete, then we'll be suffering at the bottom level. So those are things that we need to look at. Now, what quality of teacher makes him a nation builder? For a teacher to become a nation builder for 21st century, there must be creativity. We need to have a lot of teachers that can be more innovative, effective in teaching strategies, the teachers that can stand back and allow the children to actually take ownership of learning. Because sometimes, I mean, during that time, I'm sure for people on the platform today, for people of my age, you will see that during my time in primary school or in nursery or in secondary school, a lot of teachers were quite myopic. The teacher standing before everybody saying 2 + 2, giving us the answer. The teacher that is saying everything that he knows, that means we have limited education to just what that teacher knows. That means there's no creativity. And that's why if we're not careful, if we're not innovative enough, if we don't allow children to take ownership of learning, if we don't actually become facilitators and not teachers anymore, we will be bringing out or churning out wrong students. So what I'm saying in essence is we need to allow the forces to come in. What are the forces? I'm sure we should allow our children to collaborate. When we say teachers are builders, allow your children to collaborate. Allow them to work together in teams. Allow them to feedback. Not only that, let us have opportunity for critical thinking for all our children. When they're able to actually critique things, when they're able to think deep about things, when they're able to talk about it, that's why we're promoting a lot of speaking and listening as well, communication. Communication has got to be a key thing. I'm always amazed when I get to some schools and head teachers or principals will be telling me that, oh, that class, that teacher is very good. All our children are always very quiet. They focus on their task. For God's sake, we have destroyed life. The fact that they are quiet does not mean there's good education going on there. So, but when children are working together, if they're making noise, if the noise is on the quality of what they're doing, If it's productive, if there's good learning outcome, let them make that noise. We're not looking for, it's not a solemn place anymore. It's not a burial ground. So there must be critical opportunity, critical thinking opportunity. Creativity must certainly allow children to be creative, allow them to explore, allow them to actually, because if we're not careful, forgive me, pastors that are online, we will just be creating more pastors and not more innovators, not inventors. And that's something we're missing seriously in education at the moment. And the fourth one, there is collaboration, there is critical thinking, there is collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity. They're very, very important. Now, another thing is teachers as nation builders. We're looking for teachers that can develop the whole child. Enough of schools just looking at maths and English to just develop the curriculum side of children. What about the whole child? What values are we bringing into our children? Because you will see that a lot of children have lost values. Some of them don't even have the manners anymore. And another thing we've got to look at is, where are the role models? Because the role models, have we lost them in our society today? The child of the 21st century is only seeing the bandits, the boys that are very, very rich, who have not been to school. Now there's a lot now, we're not doing enough on career talks. Let children see great role models. Let's bring back morals into classes. Let children read good books that can actually add value to them, not things that would actually make them to be wayward again. And the knowledge, an ideal teacher should constantly seek updated knowledge. We need to keep ourselves abreast of changes in our society today, because education is moving forward. And if you're not careful, if you're not on the right train, you might be left behind. So we all need to work on that. Sorry about this. Another thing, one good teacher is a lifetime. May sometimes change a delinquent into a solid citizen. We need to look at that. Now, when we look at this, you will see that good teachers listen very well. We're looking for good listeners because they are the nation builders. A lot of children are going through turbulent time in their minds. A lot of children are very, very disturbed. A lot of children don't have any parent to listen to them. But what about the class teacher? Some class teachers are rather after what they can cover. Oh, the proprietress wants us to cover this. I don't have time to listen to the children. A child has just been sexually abused and nobody's listening to the child. Nobody ever listens that mom and dad fought today, and that is affecting the learning of the child. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to really take that on board. Good teachers would always listen. Good teachers would always engage the children. Good teachers would always adapt. Good teachers would always have the patience. Good teachers would always show empathy. Good teachers would always share best practices. Sometimes, what do we show our children? Children see us as Bible unto nations, they call it. But what are we showing as children? As teachers. Good teachers focus on collaboration, as I said before, and good teachers are strong communicators. Now, another thing we need to realize is, how should a teacher behave in classroom? Behaviors of good teachers. We must set challenging goals for learning. Now, in most schools that you go to now, children don't have targets. What is it that the child has worked very well with? Praise the child. However, let's set the target together. When we set targets with our children, they are bound to take ownership of it. Enough of us just imposing things on our children. Let's share it with them. Let's talk about it. Make expectations clear, both orally and in writing. I wrote that because a lot of people will talk, but don't forget, in your classroom, there are 3 families. You've got the visual learners. The visual learners will see it when you write it. The auditory learners will listen to you when you talk it. But don't forget that the kinesthetic learners will understand it when they practicalize it. So at all times, as a teacher, as a nation builder, bring in the three families together. Because, I mean, I'm going to use an example. I have a driver that is so intelligent. My driver is very, very intelligent. However, is an illiterate boy. He will do all my, I mean, occasionally when something spoils in the house, the DIY things, he will do it. If we had allowed people like that to have gone through schools without anybody listening to their needs, without kinesthetic opportunity, but you keep on talking on them, they will come out the same way they entered and they will not become anything. So set consequences for non-completion of work, encourage students to write and speak well, discuss class progress, and communicate the importance of high academic standards. When we communicate that, communicate with parents as well. Every stakeholder needs to work together. Enough of us being bullied by some parents, because sometimes teachers get bullied by parents, and so teachers will just be quiet. They will not discuss the target with the parents because the parent don't want to hear that. If they hear that their children are not performing in an area, they want to remove their children and take them to another school. Please, as a teacher, let it be known that you are you would always say the truth. Even though it might backfire, but at the same time, one day, the battle will be won. So it's very important. Avoid being overly stern. Some teachers are too harsh. You have problems at home, and we're bringing those problems into school. I remember when I was in classroom, I would always shut my problems in my car. So that at 5 p.m. when I'm going in the car again, I can take the problem again and say, hey, we even talked about this in the house. What am I going to do about it? Let our minds be in our jobs. Don't become friends with your students. Don't stop lessons over minor infractions. Don't humiliate your student, and learn to forgive. The child that did something yesterday, remember, be very, very good to that child when he comes back the second day. Never yell. When I hear teachers yelling, it speaks volume that you are such a weak teacher. Keep quiet. It's speaking a lot. Because if you have something that can engage the students, if you know how to engage your students, I am sure you will not need to yell. Never give up control. Don't show favoritism. Every child is important. Don't create rules that are unfair. It's very, very important to us. Sorry. And the last but not the least, I'm on the last slide now. In conclusion, because I'm sure people will have questions for me as well. If students are guided by good teachers, they will pass the same values to future generations. And that's to show you why I call them nation builders. Terrorists are product of bad teachers. They're intelligent, but have an unethical foundation. They destroy the world. Teachers are the nation builders, but for a country to grow and thrive from an educated and literate population, they need to be invested in, supported, and celebrated. There is no silver bullet solution for such a change to happen. It will take many years of concerted effort on a social, political, and legislative front to make such a shift, but the benefits are indescribable. Once again, I really thank the organizers. I thank all the gentlemen and women that have listened to me this morning. Once again, my name is Ronke Soyombo, the Special Advisor on Education from Ogun State. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Matt. This was really insightful. This was really insightful. That was an excellent presentation. I think she deserves a standing ovation for this one, a virtual standing ovation. Let's say something in the chats. Let's give her a round of applause. So I believe you all enjoyed the session as I did. It was powerful, it was mind-blowing. Yeah, I could even relate to the session as somebody who just concluded undergraduate study. It was like these are the problems we are also facing as as undergraduates, not just in the primary and secondary level. It's also in the tertiary, and I could so much relate. It was a very fantastic presentation. Thank you so much, Ma. I don't know if anybody has any question. You can present it in the chat. You can drop your question in the chat, and she's going to attend to it. Okay, please ask your questions. Ask your questions. Yes. Was a very wonderful presentation. It's interesting, straight to the point. Excellent. Any question, you can raise your hand, or you can type in the comments, you can type in the chat. You can raise your hand so that I can pick you out to ask your question. Okay. Okay, good. Prof. Shilizi, Nenzelele is asking, how do you define unethical teachers?
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, sure, you can go ahead.
Well, you will see that the root word there is ethics. That is, teachers without good behavior, without good manners, and so on. And at all times, there are so many things that we need to show to our children, because I spoke about it. Teachers without, teachers with unethical behavior would actually be showing a bad example to the children, because we're supposed to be exemplary leaders as teachers. And at all times, we might be destroying nations, maybe because of the way we talk, the way we get angry, the way we handle things, where we come into class without preparing for the lesson. So it affects the children. So I must say, unethical teachers are teachers that are not actually fit for purpose. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Any other question? I believe your question was answered, Prof. Any other question? Yes, somebody's saying something. Thank you very much. Somebody's saying he came in a few minutes ago, and from the little he got, you did very well. That's very true. It was a very straight to the point and amazing presentation. Okay, if anybody still has any question, you can present it. Okay, I'm seeing another question here, and Olarewaju Tosin is saying, regarding the moral aspect in students, the morals aspect in students, we are.
We know the high level. Yeah, we know the high level of social decadence.
How do we handle a situation where parents don't allow teachers to correct their words?
I seriously agree with this person, because when I was speaking, you will see that I said some parents have actually, if you have taught abroad, you will see that even though parents have powers, but at the same time, they don't misuse the powers. But because a lot of, I remember when I was in Lagos State as the Director General, we had 20,000 private schools and only 1,500 public schools. So with that, it made a lot, it made a lot of parents to be quite authoritative, because they're the ones paying for the fees. And if you're not careful, they're paying your salary. So they see themselves that they can control you, that they can also make their children to be wayward. But in all honesty, it can be corrected if you have good leaders in the school. Your head teacher or your principal of the school must be somebody that is firm. During PTA meeting, nothing stops you from actually talking, because you will have some parents that are very, very good, and some parents can't be bothered. So allow it to be part of PTA topics, where we will say, okay, let's identify what the rules should be for behavior management. When you are able to identify the behavior management, don't do it as a school alone. Involve your parents, get a committee to look into it. And when they're able to actually come up with rules and regulations for the school, And also, what should be the consequence if a child does this? Because you have involved the parents, because also in the classroom, you remember you involve the children for that, it makes every parent to take ownership. And now if there's somebody abusing it, you can easily face the problem. I mean, you can easily make them to dance to the music. But please be firm in your school. Don't take nonsense at all. Because, but at the same time, do it strategically so that you make sure you take all the necessary measures before imposing it, because you don't impose on parents, but involve parents with your vision, articulate your vision, let them also be part of it. And by so doing, it will help you to take more ownership of it on time by His grace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. So Prof still has a question. You can ask the question, Prof, or should I think I should unmute you. Okay, Prof, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you very much, Program Director. It's not a question that I want to say, but I just want to say this was a very powerful talk, and it also touched very critical aspect of our productions of graduate and scholars of notes and specialists in different fields. And the question that I posed about, unethical teachers, I posed that question because I know very much the consequences of teachers who are not ethical in their conduct, because they produce people who become a nuisance to the community.
Yeah.
In the sense that if we don't instill ethics in our students, in our learners, in our people, what we are saying is that a wrong is right. And when we're saying a wrong is right, it means that someone who's not qualified to build a building would construct a building, and that building will end up killing people. Someone who is not an engineer will end up, designing a car that will eventually kill people. And so we don't see it as teachers that we have the role to safeguard ourselves and the community by instilling ethics in the learners. And you said it very right and emphasized it that, terrorists are, a byproduct of bad teachers, because they did not stamp down and say, look, you have to be an ethical learner. You have to follow the principles. This is wrong, this is right, and so forth. If teachers fail to rebuke the learners at that level, we are indeed producing terrorists that will eventually kill us. So as teachers, we really need to know that if learners are getting out of hand, we need to stamp down and immediately address this with, the principal, or address it with the parents to say, your child is getting out of hand and we need to work together to bring back this child, on track. Otherwise, we're gonna have another terrorist. Thank you very much for your talk. It's such a powerful talk.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we have two more questions. Let's see, we have two more questions. With the little time allotted, okay, yeah. With the little time allotted for each period and the population of students, how can teachers ensure that he attends to the auditory, visual, and kinesthetic needs of the students? And then finally, we have from Idris Elebede, what disciplinary measure can we adopt to a teacher coming late to school in an environment where it is a challenge to get teachers?
Thank you very much. I must say, let me look at the first one. That's why our lesson plans must be very, very rich and must be robust. Now, you will see that when you have teachers that are not qualified, some of them do find it hard to actually plan a 45 minutes lesson or 1 hour lesson to cover these 3 families. However, I mean, I'm going to take an example, fractions, for example, because I love maths. I'm sure people that have listened to me before will know that. Now, if you're teaching fractions and the first thing you want to do is you want children to understand. I mean, why do we teach fractions? We must be able to contextualize it. Where do we use fractions? When you take them to the farm, all those things, there are so many video resources, and where we don't have the video resources, we can actually showcase oranges, dividing it. We want to divide it for the 3 children. We want to divide it for the 4 children. That is you actually doing kinesthetic lesson during the lesson. And children also, you can be writing that on the board. They will see the difference between the numerator and the denominator. And the auditory learners are listening to what you're saying. So conveniently, you can actually carry the 3 families along with you. Because what we are trying to emphasize here is when you are teaching, you are talking about it, you are writing it on the board, you are showing them how it relates to everyday activities, and you're allowing the children also to practicalize it during the lesson. And the first 15 minutes can be used for that. Children still have their good 30 minutes to do recording if they have to do some work in your class. And you can still do your plenaries after. So to me, you can actually do all these 3 things within that 15 minutes. Then with a second question that says, what disciplinary measure can we adopt to a teacher coming late to school in an environment where it is challenged to get teachers? To me, sometimes when you talk to that teacher on a one-to-one, sometimes you might even make that teacher, we are looking at teachers that are coming early, we are praising them, we're celebrating good practice, and the teacher that is coming late, you are meeting that person on a one-to-one. You are doing this so well. Bring out the strength in that teacher. You are very good in this area. However, I am very concerned with your lateness. What do you think we can do? How do you think the school can help you? What is it that will make you to correct this? Because it is having a detrimental impact on the learning of the children. That teacher may have some problems. And where you try everything possible, where you cannot get it, please, that teacher is not God. Nothing stops us from actually doing capability for teachers that are not performing well. So it's very important as leaders, because if you don't correct it, it would affect the other teachers, and that might even affect your school and affect your children, because children will say, well, our teacher is never there, so why do we need to come? So it's very, very important for you to address it as a school leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I think I have the last question. And yes, it's the last question you are going to take. I have this question, and the thing is, most times I attend events that have to do with gathering of educators. It looks like it's more targeted towards teachers in primary and secondary schools, and less of, educators in higher institutions, in higher levels, in universities, less targeted to lecturers and professors and all that. But then I noticed that a lot of the problems, a lot of the challenges we face are very similar. The problems that, in most universities, because I just finished from the university, I happen to study a health-related course, but then I have interest in education, so much interest in education and all that. So, but I've come to notice that the problem we have here is that we have very few qualified teachers. We have very, very few people who are actually passionate about teaching or know what teaching is about, teaching students. So it's a big challenge. So I wonder what could be done in this scenario, what could be done in this case to promote, we can't be having good teachers, all the good teachers in primary and secondary schools, and then the same cycle keeps repeating in the universities. What could we do, or how could we help this situation in the universities?
Thank you so much. I believe there's a lot going on in the tertiary sector as well, because I've been involved, I've been called to speak at different events where we have all the professors as well, where people are beginning to see that the lesson plans that they use or the resources they use for teachers years ago will not work for the teachers of today. And
Yes.
at the tertiary level as well, because I think when I was in Lagos as well, I represented Governor Ambode in Abuja for some things, and people are beginning to realize that definitely there's a need for us to review and revamp our curriculum. So we will keep on making the noise. We will not stop. And every opportunity, I'm sure with the Federal Ministry of Education, I'm on their platform, and that's something I can actually discuss with them as well, that we need to do a lot of talks on this with tertiary institutions. So that, because if we don't go and correct it, that's the grassroots level really. If we don't go and correct problems there, we'll be correcting problems for primary and secondary, but we'll continue to churn out teachers that are very, very obsolete before they even come out. Yes. So that's why there's a big need for us to look at it strategically as a country. And I'm glad we have people from other countries as well. So it's very important that we all look at all this and see how we can strategize. And but believe you me, for the people that I know at the top, I'm sure I will definitely pass your message as well, and I'm sure we'll work on it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I sent you a private message. Okay, and I would like to know, okay. I would like to know if it's possible to get the slide. Somebody is asking that. Somebody's asking if it's possible to get the slides shared to, if you can release the slides that you used in this lecture. And then I'm also adding, how can we contact you after now for those who may want to?
I'm sure the organizer knew how he got me. And if my memory serves me well, people do get me on LinkedIn, on Facebook and so on. I'm Ronke Soyombo. Everything about me is Ronke Soyombo. So I'm sure you can always connect me on LinkedIn. There's a lot I can do together with people. Thank you.
All right.
And
thank you so much.
If I'm going to leave my last word, because we have other people here, it would be nice for teachers to actually have digitized lesson plans for their schools, because at the end of the day, help them. Because if you ask me, as at 90 something, I can't remember exact year now, what moved education up in England was because a lot of teachers were underperforming, but they gave them scheme, and it helped them. Because if subject knowledge is an issue, support your school. Give them what they can use to actually plan. Give them lesson plans and let them adapt it. Let them read it. Let them understand it. Because when we did Ogundigi class in Ogun State, we were feeding 250,000 students every day because we had to be measuring and we had to be monitoring who was accessing us on radio, on television, and on internet, because people were able to access us online. And we realized that I use only 20 teachers, cream teachers, to be able to do all this. So I believe we can support teachers that are underperforming, teachers with subject knowledge issue, because at the end of the day, let's stop moaning about it. Let's do something about it. And I want to say a big thank you to the organizers. I want to say a big thank you to all the people that have listened to me this morning. Thank you. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. It was a powerful presentation. I'm going to reach out to you on LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Okay. So for the announcements, I'll be making I'll be saying a few things for the announcements. You can keep your feedback coming. You can keep dropping your feedback. This is not an ordinary lecture. It's not something you can get from anywhere at all. It's so amazing. So I'm trying to pull up the announcements. Okay. So our next session is going to be by 2 p.m. We'll be having the Honorable Commissioner for Education in Lagos State, Mafola Shade Adefizayo. We'll be having her talk to us about the 21st century dynamic educator. Okay, today this morning we discussed teachers as nation builders, and we've been able to establish the fact through our speaker, Ronke Soyombo, that every teacher is meant to be a nation builder. A teacher is a nation builder. So we'll be having Folashade Adefisayo by 2 p.m. the 2nd of October today talk to us about the 21st century dynamic educator, and that is what we aim to, or we have to become. Okay, so I'll be making a few announcements, of which Sir Adiola would come and throw more light into one or two of them. Okay, so the first is the Emerald Educators Workshop 2.0 is coming up on the 12th of November. It's going to span from the 12th through the 11th of December, 12th of November through 11th of December 2021. It's a good way to wrap up, your year as an educator. Try and stay in touch to get further details for enrollment. Okay. You can also ask for inquiries or sponsorships. I'm going to pull this up so that you see it. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, this is what we have. Okay, the Emerald Educators Workshop 2.0. We already had 1.0, 2.0 is coming up. So do well to avail yourself of this event. Okay.
Okay. Chijoke, can I quickly talk or not?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yes. For the educators workshop, you hear that in the last session by Prof, and then the session by Honorable Special Advisor, they mentioned about digital education and the like. So, in the last one that we had for educators that want to go into education business that could support them financially. Now, during that workshop, we got feedback from participants who have started that work. They also mentioned that educators really need how to plan digital lessons, digital lesson plans, how to use some softwares, and the skills that are involved and everything. So we said that, okay, because of this, we are going to provide a platform for this. It's going to be a 1 month intensive training, and we are having trainers from UK, from Tanzania, from India, from Vietnam, and others like that. So they're going to be trained on different softwares. We have different software, different tools that you can use to teach, the connecting tools, the skills that is being needed, and other things like that. So it's going to be a robust training for you. We'll get to give you the information very soon. Now it's going to the file will soon be out, and so I think we can also invite 3D Africa, one of our partners for this program, to talk about a very interesting program they have for educators as well. Peter, you can come up, please.
Okay, where's Peter?
I'm here. Good afternoon, good morning, or wherever time we might be. Please, I would like to share my screen. I don't know if you can make me an.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to. I would like to show a flyer so that will buttress down what I want to talk about briefly. All right, Peter Oni is my name, and from Nigeria, the Director of Communication and Strategy for 3D African Youth Organization. And we'll briefly talk about one of our program that is ongoing, one of our program in 3D Africa that is ongoing, and which is the 3D African Youth Challenge. 3D African Youth Challenge. Briefly, 3D African Youth Organization is a youth-led community engagement focused organization where African youth comes together to make necessary process to build up Mother African. We've been doing a whole lot of things, and currently we are on this African Youth Challenge, and which is focused on encouraging African youth to discuss in providing solutions to Africa problems. We had the first edition last year, and it was a very marvelous program, so to say, because we look at some critical issues. You know, we encourage young people to send in their videos of talking about some challenges facing Africa as a nation and their solutions to it. And afterward, we shortlisted them through some process, and they have also a live pitching, which was the final, where they talk robustly on the points they mentioned. So this second edition, we are looking at innovations to educational challenges in Africa. And I'm glad that the current program, the Emirate Edu concept are holding is as regards the education. And it also means that we are working towards the same goal, because we notice that there are a lot of challenges facing the African, the educational sector of African, and we need people to talk about solutions to them. We need young people to come out, you know, talk about them. So it's like a challenge we are trained to African youth, and we're expecting African youth to send in their record like 5 to 10 minute videos speaking about their team, and sending it to us, after which we shortlist some people, then go for before posting the content of their video and their details on our social media pages for people to see, and also vote for them based on the content of their video. Then afterwards, after the voting, the top 5 people from the voting exercise, we're going to have the live pitching section, you know, to talk robustly about this. It's coming up during our African Youth Conference coming up next month. That will be the grand finale. One of the days will be the grand finale for this African Youth Challenge, where they will talk robustly on what they've discussed earlier. They will have the section we have the judges, top rated judges who are coming on board to hear them talk, and as well as many attendees who will be attending the live the grand finale. Of course, we won't just talk, they won't just participate alone. We have look at some reward we can put in place to reward both all the participants, the top 10 and the top 5. You can see my screen, the top 5, all the participants. We have scholarship to one of the best leadership school in one of the best virtual leadership school, the Mugi Global Leadership School. And they also have scholarship to 3D Africa Academic Automatic Acceptance for our Project 100, which is a special program on its own. Then the top 10 people, we have all the participants we have, and some other additions to it. Then the top 5, which are the 3 qualifiers. We also have so many other bonuses to their rewards, and we're also looking at some additional star prizes for the top 3, and so many and the likes. Of course, we're going to decorate these top 3 people as Africa Change ambassador, because it's something that we will be following up and looking at how the discussions they made, how we can fine-tune them into resolutions, and send them across to relevant sector, publicize them in our newsletter and Africa Rebate magazine of the organization, and so many other stores. So we are inviting African youth to get involved, participate in this challenge, and let's work hand in hand towards the growth and development of the educational sector in Africa. Of course, if you're also a corporate body on this call and you want to partner with us in whatsoever capacity, we're open to partnerships, and we're open to partnership too. Thank you so much. I will answer questions on it if there is any. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the presentation. Okay, I'll continue with the announcements. I think. Okay, yes, I've already shared the flyer for the image for the next speaker we'll be having. Okay, I'm going to project it now so that we'll see. Commissioner for Education in Lagos State, Nigeria. Okay, so this is her profile. I mean, this is the image. Topic: the 21st century dynamic educator. Okay, we'll share her bio before she comes in, and then we'll welcome her by 2 p.m. Yes, that's it. That's it. And then the next announcement I'm going to put up here is the call for volunteers, Emerald Educators, Emerald Edu Concept and Services, calling for volunteers. Okay, so if you would want to volunteer your skills, your service, your time, to commit to the excellent things we are doing here, you are welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so this is what we have along the line of media and publicity, organizing, content development, graphics design and editing, video and documentary team. Okay, so the requirements are that you must be a student, a teacher, or a boarding school owner. Okay, and you must be willing to dedicate 3 to 4 hours weekly for the tasks related to the organization. So if you're interested, you can see the mail on this flyer. You can see the mail. You can send a message. You can send an application to Emerald Edu Concept and Service at gmail.com, or send a message to 090-1600-5019. You can request for these details on any group, maybe the WhatsApp or Telegram group, or send a private message to any of the anchors or to Sir Diola himself, and then you will get the details. Thank you all. That's the end for today. I don't know if you have any other thing to announce, Mr. Diola. Okay.
No. I think we can go and prepare for commissioner in the afternoon.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, you all can exit the meeting. Thank you very much for staying with us.